How about now? Got me? There we go. The wonders of live podcasting. How we feeling? All right, let's start this over again, okay? What do you think? All right, let's try this. What's happening, Raider Nation? It's your boy Soto here. You know what it is. Raiders versus the world. Talk about a team that the world loves to hate. Your Las Vegas Raiders. Okay, we here. We in this. Sorry about that little bit of I don't know what the heck happened, but we're here now. All right. So 23-23 is the final. Yeah, a lot of good things to take from this. Some things that need to, we need to clean up. There's always things we need to clean up. Okay. So I don't want to dwell too much on it, but we do have to talk about it. Okay. We do have to talk about the things that we need to clean up. One of the things that I am very encouraged by is the fact that we were able to do a late drive, not only in the first half, but also at the end game. We had late drives and no issues with time management, no issues with game management. We had field goals set up both times. I'm telling you right now, I have a sneaking suspicion, okay? Not to speak ill of the departed, but he put on some Chiefs gear, so whatever. I really do think AP would have let the time run and would have wasted a lot of time and not even given us a chance to kick a field goal at the end. But this is what happens when adults are in the room that know how to handle a game, adults in the room that know how to handle a clock. So that's a big thing. That's a big plus for me, okay? All right. We're going to go through a few things here. Let's take a look. Aiden O'Connell threw the ball 30 times in 30 times in 2.5 quarters. That's a grip, That's a grip to throw the ball that much. I think we may have a backup quarterback controversy brewing. Yeah. Paul Jason, yeah, man. I'm telling you, we're going to get to all that stuff. But let's look at some stats really quick, okay? Aiden O'Connell, 18 of 30, 205, 1 tutty, 2 ugly picks. That Dante Thornton showed what he's got, and my God, he was wide open. That's when you just close your eyes and you throw the ball as hard as you can. And I don't know what Aiden O'Connell was thinking there. That was just a terribly underthrown ball for the pick. The second pick wasn't much better. He got baited like a rookie on that. He didn't even see the guy. Cam Miller, 6 of 7, 76 yards and a touchdown. He was sacked one time for 8 yards. Was not given much of a chance on that play. Geno Smith was 1 for 3 with 2 drops for 15 yards. He was on target on every single pass. Can't really blame him for that. I was very impressed by a couple of backup running backs, Chris Collier and Dylan Laube. We'll talk a little bit about them in a little bit. Chris Collier, 9 rushes for 42 yards, a long of 16. Dylan Laube, 5 rushes for 34 yards, a long of 24. Raheem Mostert had a 1 run for 11 yards. Sincere McCormick had 3 runs for 11 yards. Ashton Jeanty had 3 runs for -1 yard. And I'll tell you guys, don't panic because he had the offensive line was absolutely dreadful in the first quarter. That was one of my big concerns going into the game. And that's still one of my major concerns right now is this offensive line looks bad. It was Jackson Powers Johnson missed the block on one of Genty's runs and got beat badly. DJ Glaze, Mumford, Rogers all got beat clean in pass protection. It was rough. And we're going to get to all this stuff. Let's take a look at receiving wise. Shedrick Jackson showed out. 4 catches, 76 and a touch. Bachman played really well. He got a couple of catches, moved the chains. Philip Dorsett moved the chains a little bit as well. Dylan Laube had a touchdown. That's really Dylan Laube's game. Dylan Laube's game really is being more of a receiver out of the backfield. That's really where he made a lot of his hay over in New Hampshire in college. interestingly enough, one of the knocks on Dylan Lobby coming out of New Hampshire was that he's not very patient running the ball, and he wants to bounce everything out. Just so happens it was the right thing to do in this time. So what are you going to do? In the words of the dearly departed immortal Hulk Hogan, what you going to do, brother? Jack Besh, he looked good. Dante Thornton looked good. That drop was brutal. He's got to haul that in. I got a cat hair or something right here. It's really messing with me. I'm good with a tie. We have a lot of things that we need to work on for sure. There was some things that I really did I did like very much. I feel Pete was in mid-season form as far as how to handle the game, how to handle the clock, all that stuff. As far as the defense goes, linebacker Michael Garrett had 5 tackles, 1 solo. Cody Lindenberg had 4 tackles. Jamal Adams, he played like our best linebacker out there. He was all over the place. There's a dude that can play on all 3 levels and dominate. I'm very pleased with how he played. I'm very pleased by how Tonka Hemingway played. Tonka Hemingway had 3 tackles, 2 solo. He had a batted ball. He was knifing. He did that. That's Tonka Hemingway. If you're not familiar with Tonka Hemingway's game, go back into my archives and check out my tape breakdown out of South Carolina for Tonka Hemingway. This is how he plays. He is just an agitator. He may not get all the quarterback hits and the sacks and stuff like that, but he's a knifer. He really gets himself into the backfield. He's a nuisance. He knocks balls down. This is how this dude plays. He doesn't seem like he's doing a lot, but you look at the stat sheet and like, oh man, he did really good, right? Also, Thomas Booker popped. Thomas Booker popped on TV. That chase down of Milroe was very impressive because he was behind the line of scrimmage when he turned around, and he had to move his body weight. A 295, 300-pound man was going one way. He had a complete turnaround the other way for a really fast quarterback, and he caught him from behind. So Booker played really well. I'm very impressed by Booker. Q Blue Kelly, I think he was up and down. I'm not going to put this on him solely, but we have a major issue right now in contain, and we have an extreme issue with our angles on the outside. We need to clean that up because our corners tackled they were terrible. Our corners, our outside contained tackling was absolutely dreadful. Okay. One of the things, Paul Jansen, funny that you say that. Booker wasn't really supposed to play, but he told Pete Carroll, I don't care if I don't know the calls. Just have the guy next to me tell me what I'm supposed to do. And I want to show you, I want to get out there. I want to show my team that I'm about the team. I'm about making plays, right? But yeah, he wasn't supposed to play, but he, tried to keep him off the field, basically, right? Pardon me while I take a water break. Really appreciate you guys joining me for the post-game show. Again, Raiders and the Seahawks tied at 23. I'm very concerned in 2 respects. Number 1, I'm very concerned with our offensive line play. Our line play in general, I think our offensive and defensive lines both lacked pop. I think they lacked explosion. We had 1 sack. We didn't really have any pressures or hits really to speak of. We were not very good against the run. What do they have here? Let's see here. Yeah. Seattle ran for 170 freaking yards, bro. 170 yards on the ground. Yeah, that's not okay. So we have time for that. We have time for all that. Let's take a peek at some things that I was very encouraged by. We're going to talk about some things that I was encouraged by. We're going to take a peek in to see what Pete Carroll and Geno Smith had to say about the game. And then we're going to talk about some stuff that we need to fix. Then we look forward to the Niners next week. That's what we're going to do. So first off, also, super chats are open, guys. If you have any questions and comments, you want to steer the conversation to a specific area or a specific player or person, super chats are open, okay? All right. So, number one, I think Isaiah Pola-Mao looked really good. He was just a tad late on that touchdown run. It wasn't really his job to do that. That was a missed tackle by Darian Porter, and Isaiah Pola-Mao was covering him on the back end. Very close. But that interception was a thing of beauty. That's something that we're going to see. If you guys have been watching me for any length of time, you know that I'm a huge Isaiah Pola-Mao fan. I had no clue why he went undrafted out of USC. The guy was a playmaker. He made the best of his opportunities whenever he got on the field with the Raiders. But he's a playmaker in college, and when you give him a chance, he's going to be a playmaker in the pros. So I'm very encouraged by his play and that interception. Jamal Adams looked explosive. He looked like a safety playing linebacker. He looked fast. Now, he's bigger now. He gained some weight. He put on some muscle. So he's in line with a lot of the other linebackers of the day, the quicker, smaller guys, about 6'2", maybe 225, 230 around there. But, man, he was all over the field. He was tough to block, and he was in the backfield, and he made tackles. He made big plays. So I'm very encouraged by the play of Jamal Adams. Bachman looked really good before his injury. He went in afterwards. It was an ankle thing. We'll hear more about that in a second. But Bachman looked really good, man. He got open and he made himself available. That's really all you can ask for with a guy like that. Shedrick Jackson. This is going to be tough, man. There's going to be some guys that may not make squads. Okay. But Shedrick Jackson looked good. Now, we'll see him when he plays, if he plays against some better competition. He was playing against backups today, but we'll see if he gets against some ones, what happens. But for what he was and what he is right now, I mean, he looked pretty good. I really like that. Tonka Hemingway, I just talked about Tonka. If you were to look back at the tape that I made of Tonka and his play, really nice. This is how he plays. He's a disruptor. He's not a stack and shed guy. He's not going to put his hands in between, the shoulder pads of the guard and just lift him off the ground and throw him to the side. That's not his game. His game is knifing. His game is penetrating. His game is, beating double teams and getting into the backfield and being just a disruptor. That's his game, and that's how he played today. That's who he is. I think he had a really nice game. Q Blue Kelly, we already talked about that. He's a little up and down. He dropped the interception that he should have had. He may have had a pick six if he would have caught it. Maybe not if Jalen Milroe is chasing him down, but you got to squeeze those. If you're fighting for a roster spot, Kelly, you gotta squeeze that INT and take it to the house, baby. You got to stamp that. You got to make sure. How do you make sure? It's very simple, right? But like usually the most logical answer is the best. How do you make sure you make a roster? Is you make plays when given the opportunity. There's that. It's almost like, how do you make sure that you keep like a secret doesn't get out? Don't tell anybody, right? That's same thing like that. So Dylan Laube showed his pass catching ability out of the backfield for that touchdown. He showed some of his explosion on that run. I wouldn't expect too much of that from Dylan Laube. I think he's more of a like get outside type of guy. He's not really a in between the tackles type of runner. That's not who he is. He's a very good catcher of the ball out of the backfield. Okay. But I do think that Collier had a much better game as a runner. He ran with a lot more power up the middle when he was given some opportunity up there, but he gained like 42 yards. Also, Thomas Booker, like we talked about, showed some burst, showed some pop. This first game is going to be a little funky. A lot of these guys are just kind of mixed in there and thrown in there to say, hey, let's see what you can do. Hey, let's see what this guy can do. It's not going to be that way. It's going to be more focused moving forward. Now, Cam Miller. Can we talk about Cam Miller for a second? Cam Miller looked poised. The moment was not too big for him. That pump fake was a 10-year pro pump fake because that corner bit. Like, if he would have bit out of an apple, it would have been 3 bites out of that. That's how big that bite was. And the throw was perfect. Dropped it, with enough juice and enough air for Jackson to get under it. Still enough arm to get it away from the safety. Cam Miller just looked. This is how he plays. Again, if you want to know more about Cam Miller, go back in the archives. I did a tape breakdown of Cam Miller's game against an FBS school in Colorado. So people are saying, oh, well, he played in the FCS and that's bad competition or whatever. No, Colorado was a bowl team. Okay, they went to a bowl this year. And, Cam Miller had a really nice game against these guys. The composure of Cam Miller was there. He's played in too many big games. FCS, say what you want about it. He's played in way too many games at an extremely high level to not know what to do in crunch time. He got first downs with his arms, got first down with his legs. He looked in command. All the operation looked good. He was identifying protections. He was doing everything you can ask of a young quarterback in his first game. Everything you wanted him to do, he showed you. Poise, command, leadership, arm strength, arm talent, reading the defense, protection, running the ball, no turnovers. He got the offense in a position to win the game. That's really all you can ask for, especially from a young guy. Okay, we'll see with the step up in competition if he plays against some backup guys or maybe even gets a little bit of a first half look sometime. Probably going to get more of a first half look in these next couple of games just because, you're going to have to take a look at him, right? But yeah, I'm very impressed by Cam Miller and what he did. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but number 79, Lakitasi, was in the game in the fourth quarter. And man, Lakitasi does need a lot of work on his technique, but he was moving some bodies. I don't know if you guys looked at that. Maybe if you get a replay or something like that, Lakitasi was moving guys off the spot. I think we might have something here with this kid. He needs a lot of work. Okay, he needs a lot of work with his technique for sure. But what he is doing is something that is extremely tantalizing on the offensive line. If you guys have been watching me for any length of time, I love offensive line play. That is like my favorite tape to break down. That is my favorite guys to break down as far as in a team, individually. I love talking about the offensive lineman. Lakitasi, his footwork is bad. Okay, he takes a lot of false steps, right? But when he gets his hands on you, you are moving backwards. Okay, just want to let you know that right now. When he gets his hands on you, yeah, you're not going to stay in the spot. You're going to get moved. So that is a huge plus. It's a big, strong dude who's aggressive. And man, I'm very encouraged by this kid. So hopefully he gets a little bit more seasoning. We can stash him on the practice squad. He's also an international player, so he's not subject to the same rules as far as waivers and stuff like that. So that's pretty nice. Also, Carlson did atone for his miss. It was kind of a rough one because the clock should have been running a lot faster than it was. For whatever reason, the clock stopped at 8 seconds, and Carlton was racing on the field to kick the field goal. That's why he rushed his mechanics and his execution of the kick. That's why he missed. But when he had time, he drilled that second field goal that he kicked, or the third one, I believe it was. Dude, that thing would have been good from 70. It was 58 yards, and it was three quarters up on the net on a line drive. Like, that would have been good from a long way. The last one was a block, so I mean, you really can't put that on Carlson, but I think that he atoned for his first miss. All right, so what I want to do right now is take a peek at Pete Carroll's press conference, see what he had to say, and then we'll talk about it. All right, let's take a look.
Can you just give us your overall impressions? Obviously, haven't seen the film, but overall impressions, please, sir.
No, I've already seen the film. I got that done just now. So I have everything in this steel trap right now. Well, we started really poorly. We had a really hard time. I don't know why that stopped, but the officials, got us 5 times that we assessed penalties, and there was a few other ones that they let go. It was miserable looking first quarter. And, we were kind of hung in the game as far as, trying to win the game. We didn't run the ball very well in the first half. We really didn't do much of anything very well, but we stayed close. And so it was the opportunity for us to face that up and then come on back and see what you can do in the second half to finish the game. And it was a marvelous second half for our guys as a team. We did so many cool things that we weren't able to do. We ran the ball better. We protected the quarterback better. The quarterbacks made their throws. The guys made their catches and gave us a chance to win a football game on the last play of the game. And, that's kind of all we can hope for, Bud Grant taught me that a long time ago. So it winds up being a tie, too bad. I thought Trevor had 2 huge plays in the game. The big sack he gets, but also he blocked a kick. He said he never blocked a kick in his life, so welcome to the NFL. And then Cam and Shed with his touchdown catch, gorgeous play. But just our ability to keep coming back and keep coming back and keep coming back. The sidelines was electric. The guys understood what we were talking about. We've been talking about it. It just takes one play at the end if you can get it done. And we got a chance to feel that. The most important thing is that we take that forward and that we know that we ain't never done and it ain't never over. And we're going to keep hanging until we get a chance to win the game.
Any update on Alex Bachman?
He's fine. He's had an ankle that's bothered him, and he just wrenched it a bit and came back. He was ready. He played after that. He's okay.
You'll go back and look at the film, but in terms of the run defense, there were a couple of...
Yeah, we made some really glaring errors. We made errors, and a couple times when we were pressuring, we just didn't hit stuff clean enough. So, but as the game went on, we played way better, and I thought they did a nice job running the football. I thought that was a really obvious part of their game, and we need to do better.
Cam Miller gets in there for the first time and leads you on a couple scoring drives. Getting thrown into the fire the way he did and responding the way he did.
We knew that he would get the chance in the fourth quarter to do this, and he did a terrific job. Yeah, I'm so proud of him for hanging in there through all those those situations. If you remember, it was almost like the mock game. It was just about like that game. And so. He kind of did the same thing there too. So really credit to him and the guys that made the catches and all.
You got counted 22 rookies on the field tonight. Is it just good to get to allow those guys or let those guys get a little taste of it?
It's hard to assess how valuable that is. Guys playing in the first NFL game and the crowds, a nice crowd and all of that. We had to silent count the whole game, for the offense. We hung together on the sidelines, and everybody kept fighting, and you could feel the surge of the comeback, and you could feel it occurring, and that's really important for these guys to understand that, I feel kind of used to it, but it doesn't mean I don't enjoy it, man. It's as good as it gets right there.
What was the experience like being back here, just coming from a different perspective?
I'm sorry to tell you that it wasn't like it was something obvious. It was a football game. And I've been fighting wars for other people my whole life. Coaching and so. I was with my team, and we were battling, and it was cool to be here. I loved it here. I've always loved the whole. The whole experience that we had here, all those years together and all of that. And I don't forget that, and I don't disrespect that in one bit. But it didn't translate to something crazy to me. It was just an opportunity to play in a great setting. And thanks to the league for putting us in this game when they figured it out. It was a good idea. And it's been a good one to look forward to. And I thought we handled it all right. I just wish we would have played better.
Was it weird at all at any moment?
No, only that there was a couple times when guys made plays, and I'm looking at the screen at the end in the end zone, and I thought that was our guys making the play. That did happen a couple times. Yeah.
Pete, it's rare that defensive lineman gets called for 2 holding penalties on the same drive. Did you get any explanation there from?
Yeah, I did. I did. I didn't like it, but it wasn't that the official didn't give him a warning, and then he did it. And then he did it again, and he was torquing a little bit. It's just not a call that early in the season. I wish he would have warned him a couple times, and we would have got him out of the game or whatever we needed to do. Would have told me about it. I got nothing. Those are big penalties in that game. Really big penalties, and just giving your opponent free yards and first downs and stuff like that. If you do that, it's really hard to win.
That's well said. Thank you, Pete.
Thank you, Pete.
All right. So, I mean, Pete Carroll just kind of echoed what we have already been saying. Team came out flat. Not only was it not a good thing as far as just the play, but the operation, a lot of penalties, pre-snap penalties, some very important penalties to help extend drives and stuff like that. I think it was Jonah Luwalu who was called a few times for defensive line holding, which you don't really get. You don't really see that often, but whatever. I guess there's something new that the refs are going to try to start calling or something like that. But it's just, I wasn't very impressed with the beginning of the game, and it didn't seem like Pete Carroll was either. He was a lot more encouraged, just like I am, and I think all of us were, of how the team responded in the second half. I don't know what he put in the water in the second half, but this team really responded in the second half to what needed to have happen. Like Pete was saying, they ran the ball better, less penalties. Defensively, they got a better push on the defensive line. Offensively, we were converting on third downs, weren't dropping passes, and we were, for the most part, short up tackling a little bit. These are some things I'm going to talk about in a second. Some things that I didn't like, similar to what Pete Carroll said. The offensive line looked bad, and that's a concern. Now, Colton Miller didn't play. Munford started at left tackle, and he got absolutely just demolished on several plays. Jackson Powers Johnson, like I mentioned earlier, he missed a block clean on a run play, and it was not good. I mean, I think there's a reason why Meredith and Jackson Powers Johnson played very deep into the third quarter. Also, like DJ Glaze, Mumford, Caleb Rogers, they all got beaten nasty on pass plays. So we need to clean that up. It's going to be a mix and match, I think, in the offensive line. I don't know that this is going to be an area that's going to be decided relatively soon. I think it's going to be something that's going to be well into the season, and maybe the first few weeks we're still going to be tinkering around with the best guys. But ultimately, I do have some faith that we're going to be able to get it right. It just wasn't a good showing from the offensive line whatsoever, especially in the first half. It was pretty bad, actually, pretty dreadful. I feel bad for Ashton Genty. The couple times he did get the ball, he had zero shot. He had no chance. Guys were all on him right away. These guys, our offensive line, were getting beat clean. I feel really bad. I would have hoped that we would have gotten the ball a little bit out in space a little bit. But with that no room to run for Genty, there's only so much you can do. You can't just bounce off everybody. It's not like Bo Jackson Tecmo Bowl. If you have guys already at your feet, once you grab the ball, there's gonna be a lot less you can do with the ball. Aiden O'Connell showed his limitations, man. I know there's a lot of Aiden O'Connell fans out there, and I'm a fan of his too, but I know what he is. He's a backup quarterback. And as good as he is processing information pre-snap, I think his post-snap reads are a little bit late. On his second interception, he threw the ball probably a little bit later than he wanted to, and he got baited in by the, pretty simple bait by the corner, and he threw it right at the guy. So the first interception was just a poor throw. He showed his limitation in his physical ability. He doesn't have a strong arm, and he can't throw on the run. And we try to do both. We try to muscle a ball deep while you're fading to your left. It's just not going to, if you're Aiden O'Connell, it's not going to end well. And he needed to throw that ball a good 15 yards deeper than he did, maybe even 20, and have Thornton run underneath it. But that was a guaranteed touchdown. That could have been his Cam Miller moment with the pump fake, the double move, because, Thornton did his job and was wide open. So I do feel like there may be a little bit of a controversy coming up as far as what we're going to do with the backup quarterback role. Because look, guys, you guys remember what happened in Seattle all those years ago. At the time, they give Matt Flynn big money. They traded for Charlie Whitehurst. And they drafted a quarterback named Russell Wilson in the third round who had some potential, but was probably going to be a third stringer. and he ended up starting. I'm not saying Cam Miller's going to start, but I don't think that Aiden O'Connell has a stranglehold on this backup role at all. Pete Carroll likes how you practice, but he pays a lot more attention to how you play in the game. And if you just take a look at the two players, Cam Miller just played like he was more comfortable out there. And that's what Pete Carroll's looking for. He's looking for a guy that can make it play, who can make plays happen when the lights are on, when the games count in between the lines. That practice is fine, but how do you play in the game? So there may be a slight backup quarterback controversy brewing. Our tackling looked bad. Our tackling in the open field looked dreadful. We need some guys in the secondary to step up, because they're the guys that need to set the edge on running plays. And whenever Seattle did have a long run, it was because our outside corner lost contain and took a bad angle and whiffed on the tackle. And that's that. It's pretty simple. We need to work on that. Those guys need to be sure tacklers. It can't happen. It can't happen. And Pete, as good as he is dealing with the secondary, he's going to handle this. Also, Patrick Graham asks a lot of his secondary. It's going to get handled. All right. I was very intrigued. I'm borderline excited to see how Charles Grant played. And he needs to get bigger, man. He needs to gain some weight. He needs to gain some strength. His play weight last season was like 285, 290. He's not a big guy. He's very lean. And he showed that he needs to get a little bit bigger. He needs to get a little bit stronger at the point of attack. His feet are fine. His footwork is fine. The issue with Charles Grant is he can't anchor, and he gets moved off the spot. So we need to hopefully stash him and develop him a little bit. If not, he has to make the roster because someone's going to pick him up as a third rounder. Someone's going to pick him up. So he is a developmental guy, I think, but I think he has very good tools. His footwork was really good. He stayed in front of the guys. He just couldn't anchor. So it was a kind of a mixed bag for Charles Grant, I think. Again, if you want to know more about Charles Grant and his play, check the archives for the Charles Grant tape breakdown. I have a breakdown of a lot of his plays and him just being an absolute monster at the FCS level. Last, I'll talk about things that we need to improve on is our point of attack is wild. We need to do better at the point of attack. We need to do better about containing the outside and pushing everything in. And we just looked undisciplined and underprepared in the secondary as far as the run defense goes. Pass defense wasn't too bad. Run defense, yeah, not so good. And that is something that definitely needs to be addressed, because if a team gets a little bit of a whiff of that, they can maybe bounce a couple around on you. They're going to try you. Any little thing that you give, it was just bad tackling today. So, all right. So we're going to go ahead and take a peek at what Geno Smith had to say after the game, going home to Seattle, where he spent quite a few years. Give me a second because I have to kind of fast forward through this whole thing to find it, but just give me a second. There he is.
I know it's kind of a brief appearance for you, but is there something that you gleaned from that experience, getting out there with your teammates, getting the drive under your belt?
Yeah, for sure. I think just, calling plays in the huddle with the real crowd, having the clock, being up against the clock, and just all the mechanics that it takes to just go out there and just execute and play football. I think those are the things that we wanted to make sure that we got done, and I thought we did.
Geno, you were obviously cheering really loud for Cam a few times, almost waving, just getting excited. I'm just curious, afterwards, I saw you talking with him. What do you say to a rookie after his first preseason game as a leader on this team?
Yeah, I was talking to him about, now I feel like he can really get better because he's gotten game experience and he can go and watch that film and, you took a couple hits, he just kind of get the NFL game and, feel the speed of it. And, I know it's a preseason game, but it's still NFL football. So, just for him, I thought he did a great job out there. But most importantly, I thought he was able to just go out there and get some reps and feel what it's like. I thought he got some experience and now he can get better from it.
Obviously, the fans, tip their hat to you and showed you a lot of appreciation coming off the field. What did that mean to you just coming back here to play in Seattle?
It means everything to me. We all know about the 12s and how special they are. And, they're a big part of, why the Seahawks are, a really good team. And so, for me, just to be embraced by the fans, to see, some of the children from the Children's Hospital that, I went and visited and, their parents and just to, sign some autographs, shake some hands. I mean, it's always fun when you can go back to a place that, you loved. And, I thought it was really good for me and it was a great experience.
Geno, as a leader on this team, how do you assess tonight's game? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought we started out really slow. And that's kind of to be expected for a first preseason game. A lot of different rotations, a lot of different players in there. Guys got to get used to, tackling and getting hit and just all the things that, preseason brings. But I thought in that second half, man, we played really inspired football. I saw Coach Carroll running up and down the sideline, just out of his mind a little bit. And, I thought Cam played well. I thought Aiden played well in the second half. And, I thought our entire team really, fought for it to be a preseason game. Guys were competing and trying to win. And I thought that was pretty cool.
That's all good? Awesome. Thanks.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, so yeah, pretty diplomatic by Geno Smith. Not a lot you could say really, because he didn't play that much, and he kind of echoed a lot of things that we saw, that we heard from Pete Carroll. One thing that I want to mention about Geno Smith, when he was in the game, everything seemed like the operation was fine. Everything was good. He was on target with he was 1 for 3, but he had 2 drops, and those were going to be first downs. So I was kind of bummed out that he only had 1 series that he was going to play, and it ended up being 5 plays. That's a bummer. I would like to see him a little bit more. I feel like he has a very good control and command of this offense, and he was on target with everything. The plays while he was in there, the plays worked. The back shoulder throw to Thornton was right on target. He just let it get into his body, and he geeked it. Same thing with Jacoby Myers. He maybe was running a little bit too fast before he caught the ball. Tried to run with it before he caught it and ended up dropping it. But overall, I was very impressed by Cam Miller. I was very impressed by Shedrick Jackson. I was very impressed by Dylan Lowby. I was impressed by Tonka Hemingway. Jamal Adams, impressed. Thomas Booker, impressed. I think Isaiah Polamalu did really well as well. Our entire offensive line and most of our defensive line, we need to step it up. We need to get more pressure on the quarterback. That is not how our defense is supposed to run. We need to get pressure with 4 and play tight on the outsides to get tough throwing lanes for opposing quarterbacks. But one of the things that we need to do is just improve. We need to improve. And I think that having this mishmash of players, I think we're going to see a little bit more come out during the joint practice with the Niners this week. I think joint practice is going to be something that we're going to do a lot more in the future. Like I was talking before, with the we're going to go to 18 games soon. Just book it, okay? It's going to happen. So with that happening, I can see the teams doing maybe even 2 or 3 joint practices a week, because I feel like it's going to be very beneficial to have a more controlled environment where you can go 1v1s and 2v2s and stuff like that to really get a good look at these guys and get some good work done. I think it's something that's been happening for quite some time now, but the joint practices are really something that I think the coaching staff puts a lot more into the joint practice than even the preseason games at times. All right. All right, guys. Well, that's my time for tonight. Really appreciate you guys watching. The final score is tied at 23-23 against the Seahawks. Preseason game number 1. We play next Saturday, which is the 9th, 16th or something like that, I think. So that's when we play again. We play against the 49ers. Keep tuned for more videos every single day. I drop a video. I try to drop one every single day for you guys. Just a little thing here and there that I like to do for you guys to make sure that you guys are up to date on what's happening and up to date on what I think about what's going on with Raider Nation. You guys, I appreciate you guys. You guys are doing great. We're growing by leaps and bounds. If this is your first time listening to me, or you haven't listened to me in a long time, I just started this channel in January. We're already over 3,000 subscribers. I really appreciate you guys. I can't do it without you. I do it for the nation, and that's the only people I'm worried about. I don't care about anybody else, and I want to make sure that you guys like the content that I'm making for you guys in the nation. I want to create an atmosphere here for all Raider Nation to come in here and feel like they can vent, like they can celebrate. It doesn't matter. So I'm doing my part by making these videos. I need you guys to do your part by telling your friends, tell your haters, tell your mamas, tell everybody. Raiders versus the world is the greatest thing going to Raider Nation today. All right, guys, that's my time. Till next time, everybody. Peace.